So is your bank going to get bailed in? This is the question everybody is asking. So I want everybody to take a deep breath and understand, not understand, what is actually happening. So I hope to bring peace and calmness to these markets to help you understand how this actually works and what is happening. Because you don't want to make uninformed decisions or make rash financial decisions and destroy your financial future when it's something that you can't control. So let's back up for just a moment. The FDIC has been preparing for bail-in since 2012. The bail-in committee started in 2012, and biannually, don't quote me on this stuff, but I've been trying to research as much as I can. This is all on the FDIC website. Biannually, all banks had to submit a bail-in plan. And so for 10 years, they've been preparing for bail-ins. This is around the time that Obama initiated his rescue plan. Now you have to remember, more money's been printed than in history since Bitcoin's inception in 2009. So here's where we need to pause for just a moment and understand what's happening with the markets and go deeper into SVB and what actually happened. Now again, this is just my opinion, my study, obsessive study of macro and microeconomics and doing the best I can. I did spend 10 years in banking. I went to CBA Executive Banking School. So I have deep knowledge in banking and understanding how banking infrastructure works and how banks get over leveraged and what it means when the bond market changes. So give you a little bit of context. I came from the banking sector. Okay, so let's go into some education. So let's take SVB Bank, Silicon Valley Bank. The reason why they had to shore up $2.5 billion, and they announced that to the public, which caused the pandemonium or panic, which had people liquidate, which put them in a position to get taken over by the FDIC, had a lot to do with the bond market. So when money is very, very cheap, people, banks, institutions, companies are looking for a way to make money on their money. So when money is being printed and interest rates are low, money is trash. Cash is trash. So what companies do, banks do, is they take their money and they put it into bonds to get a higher yield. But guess what happened on the back end of the year in 2022? They turned the printing machine off, and Jerome Powell, boom, he flipped the switch and jacked up interest rates to cool inflation. So Russia invaded Ukraine in the beginning of 2022, causing a supply chain problem, and then we were going to take them off the SWIFT system, digital currency. That created a supply chain problem, an inflation problem, so inflation goes through the roof, and to cool inflation, what do? You jack up interest rates. So Jerome Powell announces he's going to jack up interest rates. What that does is it panics the market. But here's what happens to the banks and people who were over leveraged in bonds. And they also had all these VC companies and all this money flooding in because money was very cheap, innovative technologies. Well, when this Jerome Powell slammed on the brakes with interest rates, it changed the whole dynamic of the economy. So SVB was an old banking system. SVB had access to or had quite a few bonds. Well, when interest rates skyrocket, guess what happens to your bonds? The value of your bonds plummet. So their balance sheet started to plummet. So when interest rates go up, bond values go down. So a lot of banks right now are scrambling because they had tons of exposure to bond markets. And with interest rates skyrocketing, that means their balance sheets are shrinking right now. Because cash, with interest rates are high, cash is no longer trash, cash is valuable. And so that's sucking liquidity out of the markets. So you don't think that there's other banks right now with interest rates being low for such a long time, with money flowing like water, and all these companies pumping money into the banks and being heavy cash flow and interest rates were low, so easy access to money, and all of a sudden the Fed stopped that train? You don't think other banks are struggling right now to shore up their bond decrease on their balance sheet? So that's what I want you to pay attention to. As interest rates go up, the bond values go down. So if they're stuck in a 2-year, 3-year, or 10-year treasury bond, that means that money sitting on their balance sheet is worth a lot less money. And that's your money you deposited. That's companies' monies that put their money through the bank. So the fact is, money's not cheap anymore. Interest rates are super high. Companies' balance sheets are shrinking, and the liquidity in the banks and companies is dying. So what would you do? Switch to a new monetary system that has on-demand liquidity, moving money at the speed of light, ODL, real-time payments, FedNow services. I don't know, I don't run the monetary system, but I do watch how the money flows. And I've made all my decisions based on what they're doing, not what they're saying. So as everybody's looked this way, I've looked this way. So I hope that helps you take a deep breath. Over $250,000 in the bank is not insured by the FDIC. This is all on the website. But the president's saying he's going to do everything he can to help all insured depositors. This is telling you something, guys. So he's tapping on Jerome Powell now, saying that you need to help out. He's in a high interest rate environment. He's trying to cool inflation. He's going to turn the printing machine back on. So imagine if they turn the printing machine back on and high interest rates. Do you know what? It's a debacle right now. So hang on for the ride. Put on your seatbelt. What I'm doing personally, this is what I'm doing, not financial advice, is I keep dollar cost averaging into intrinsic value companies or stocks, or cryptocurrencies. Got my leveraged life insurance, my precious metals. I'm diversified in business, staying calm, not tripping, buying the dipping, and diamond handed my crypto. And I sure as hell have an exit plan as this thing goes parabolic next year. Remember, when everybody's fearful, you should be greedy. And when everybody's greedy, you should be fearful. Just do the opposite of 99%. So I hope this information helps you stay calm. I keep very little cash in the bank. I put it into assets. And I move that stuff around based on what the markets are doing. Excuse me, not what the markets are doing, what the economy is doing. Markets are emotional. Economics are cyclical. It's nothing new under the sun. This has happened over and over again. So I hope this information reaches you well. I truly love you guys, from my family's heart to yours. Hope to meet all of you guys someday and give you a big hug. And we're going to get through this. God is our president and CEO. He loves us, and we win in the end. Warriors! Get your shit together. Love you guys. If you want to help getting your shit together, join my 120-day challenge. It will change your life. Link in bio, 7 days for free in 2023. I'll see you inside.